Welcome to the high school edition of Football Friday, brought to you in part by Josh Houston and Associates, one source, one company. By the Metro Nashville Police Department. Apply today at mnpd.com. By Southern Trophy House. Visit their showroom at 2705 Nolensville Pike. And by Star Physical Therapy, committed to serve. Now let's head to the gridiron with George Plaster and Billy Derrick, a high school edition of Football Friday. Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's kind of a cloudy and overcast Friday. You're wondering, why are we in the studio when we have been making appearances at high schools all over the mid-state? We had one game we wanted to cover this week, and we just couldn't pull it off. Riverdale and Oakland, the battle for Murfreesboro. And the truth of it is, it's ironic, both of them have the same issue right now. They have got a ton of construction going on, and nobody felt after further review that we could make it work the way we wanted it to. But in particular, I want to thank Kevin Creasy, the head coach at Oakland, who tried his darndest for us to be able to pull this off. He's going to join us in a couple of minutes. Before we get him on, there is news that has broken about 30, maybe 45 minutes ago. You may be aware of, you may not be. It has some huge high school football implications. Billy, if you can, lay it on me.
Yeah, really a tough situation for Lipscomb Academy right now, George. Their first year competing in the state's largest private school football classification will end without a chance to compete in the TSSAA playoffs. Tom Krager, the Tennessean, reporting that they will be put on basically probation, whatever you want to call it, postseason ban, playoff ban for 2 years. They will appeal this decision, but it's not looking like they will be able to compete this year or next year in football in the postseason. So that's the news right now. We'll have George Robinson on, I'm sure, to comment more on that. But tough situation. You hate it for Coach Mawai and those players. We were just there. What was it, last week?
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, they're playing McCallie tonight. So this will be the last game of the season for them.
That's a real downer for them. However, let me say this. This is no surprise at all. I think those of us who've been watching what's been going on over there are not the least bit surprised by it. And we'll have more to get into later. Billy, give me the thumbs up if there's a thumbs up to give.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we're stalling for a minute. So I will tell you this. This is officially a four-corner stall. Back when I used to have Rick Insel on the show, when he was dominating at Shelbyville, I used to call him the John Wooden of women's high school basketball in Tennessee. Well, you know what? I could throw this same thing out here about Kevin Creasy. It is unbelievable what he has gotten done both at Trousdale County and at Murfreesboro, Oakland. I hope I'm right about this. 16 years as a coach, 7 state championships. He is truly a John Wooden on the Tennessee high school football front, and he joins us by phone. Kevin, how are you?
Oh, I just had him. George, try to reconnect there.
Okay. We continue in four corners stall. Okay. We will get him on here.
Now.
Okay. Kevin, how are you?
Hello.
Beautiful. This is George Plaster. How you doing?
Hey, doing well, George.
I was just saying, when I read, I knew for the most part what you've accomplished both at Trousdale County and at Oakland. But I made the thing that you have become the John Wooden of high school football in the state of Tennessee. The only other person I've ever used that on was Rick Insell when he was at Shelbyville. So congratulations.
Well, that's good company to be with, especially how well he's doing over at Middle. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've got a few Bill Waltons on my team, but I don't know if I'm compared to Coach Wooden at all.
Well, go ahead and give it your best shot, because you're in good company. If somebody thinks that you deserve to be in that, take it and run with it. So
Well, I appreciate it.
Let me start with this. Obviously, for those in Nashville who have never seen this game, this is Billy, if you will, take a look there. This is an amazing rivalry, and one that captures the entire city of Murfreesboro. And it sounds like the fire marshal basically has to be on notice.
That's a fact. The fire marshal will be here, and at some point he will say no one else can enter the ball game. That's unfortunate, but that's why we try to tell all our fans to get here early. And he's been put to work a few times over the last few years.
Kevin, when you were at Trousdale County, did anything compare to this?
There were heated rivals at Trousdale too. We loved the rivalry we had with Smith County, and then we ended up getting in the same region with eventual state champs Friendship Christian. Always had a big rivalry with those guys, and it's just a few more numbers, I guess you could say. The Trousdale games were always packed. We would double the city's population, especially on playoff games. We had a stadium that held about 5,000 people, and there was 2,500 in the whole county. So that was always pretty impressive. But at the same time, when I came over to Oakland, it was evident that this was a different level. The Battle of the Borough. For a long time, there was just two schools in the city of Murfreesboro. They split up Murfreesboro Central and made Riverdale and Oakland in 1972. And those guys that had played with each other in every sport for years and years, all of a sudden got to play against each other. And needless to say, it got to be a heated rivalry pretty quick.
Kevin, there was a day and time where Riverdale dominated this series. How did Oakland swing it back the other way?
It started with Tommy McDaniel. He's now the head coach at Christian Brothers. He did a really good job of taking the rivalry serious. And in his first year on the job, he won a state championship. And of course, that meant that he had to go through Rutherford County back then to win a state championship and beat the Smyrnas of the world and the Riverdales. And so he kind of set the standard. And right when he was about ready to leave, Coach Adelot started getting the better of him a little bit, and so it became back and forth. And we've been real fortunate to be on the winning side, since I've been here. I think that's what a lot of people are saying about this matchup is I've been here 8 years and we haven't lost to Riverdale, but this is their best chance to beat us. And people are right. They have a heck of a team, and it very easily could happen tonight.
Let's talk about the Riverdale side for a minute, because you're right. There's a lot of talk going on right now that this is their best shot to get you since you've been there. Talk to me about why that is. Why are they so dangerous?
Yeah, well, you just look on both sides of the ball. They have guys that are going to be playing on Saturdays on both sides of the ball. Their offense is, averaging 40 points a game. Braden Graham's probably going to be a Mr. Football candidate. He's thrown one interception the whole year. Done a heck of a job of spreading the ball around. He's got multiple receivers, and when you get spread too thin, he has a great running back. It's just a junior that has several Division I offers in DJ Taylor. And then, of course, they've always been known for their defense, and it's just as stout. They've got a couple guys that are committed to Michigan State in the secondary. And then you look at their kick game. We've always thought that we had an advantage in the kick game, but their soccer coach's son, Armand, is probably going to be up for Mr. Football as well, because he is probably the best public school kicker besides ours that's out there. Jacob Taylor was up for Mr. Football last year, and it'll be an interesting matchup special teams wise between two really great kickers.
Kevin, before I ask you about your team, I'm just kind of curious. How many D1 prospects are in this game tonight?
I think there's probably around 12 to 14.
Wow. This you can't. Nobody can prove this part. I don't think you could get a game where there would be more.
Well, I'm not sure. The good part about this series is a lot of these guys are underclassmen that have offers. So it's going to continue to be a heated rivalry.
I want to start with something I absolutely know a little bit about when it comes to your team. Going back to my Vanderbilt days, Lucy Jones was an absolute pillar of Vanderbilt's athletic department. Her grandson, Jody's son, Ashton, moved to Murfreesboro, Oakland last year. Talk to me about what he's meant to you all.
Yes, he's one of our guys that has a couple different D1 offers. Hopefully, he'll be going to a school that he wants to go to on Saturday and play at the next level. But the best thing I know about him is he was the guy that got the ball like every play at his other school, and now he's here and he's got to share the ball. And when he doesn't have the ball, he has to pass protect or he has to block for somebody else. And we're doing a good job of getting him involved in blocking and in the screen game. And, he's just a great kid that you can tell has been raised right, just so unselfish. He's part of a good 1-2 punch that we got going on at the running back position. And so, like I said, we've had a lot of success because of him.
Kevin, tell me a little bit more about your team. I centered in on Ashton partly because the family has, there's been a friendship with their family for years, but tell me a little bit more about your team.
Yeah, well, like I said, we got DeJuan Morris. He's a junior running back that, back in the backfield with Ashton, real dangerous. They both are averaging like 8 yards a carry. Both of them, have 100-yard games. And if you're keying on one, that'll get you in trouble because the other one's going to break loose. Currently, we have a lot of strength with our offensive line. I think, you can't really get going on offense unless you have the guys up front. And we've got some tremendous players, especially our tight end H-back position. We got 2 really good ones that both will be playing at the next level. Deuce Hewitt's already committed to Liberty. Marcus Bullard, he's got a couple smaller school offers, but they're kind of like the stick that stirs the drink around here. Wherever they're going, they're denting the defense and they're helping make holes for those 2 running backs.
Kevin, let me do this before we end. I'm really sorry we weren't able to work this out, but it certainly was not for lack of effort on your end. And so I'll leave you with this promise. When you all have the construction stuff taken care of, we will be there one night to do our show, and I look forward to that.
Perfect. You're always invited. Right now, it's definitely hard to get in and get out. We're glad that they're spending several $1 million to update not just our school, but Riverdale. They've been around for 51 years, and so it's about time for a facelift for both of them. And like I said, we'll deal with the pains of growth, and we'll deal with the pains of construction just to get a few new buildings here and get a few more students in.
Sounds like a winner. Coach, thank you. Good luck tonight, and let everybody in that wants to get in.
I agree. As long as they got a ticket.
Absolutely. Take care, Kevin.
Appreciate it, George.
Kevin Creasy is the incredibly successful head football coach at Oakland High School in Murfreesboro. Billy, have you ever been to that game?
I have never been. I've heard about it, and man, I would love to.
I have. It's insane.
I bet it is. And we've talked a lot about the growth of Murfreesboro. That has probably only helped it. I mean, with people moving in, but it's so deep-rooted into that community that, it's Murfreesboro's own. It's not Nashville. It's not Memphis. That's the borough. That's the battle of the borough. And I love those historical rivalries.
They're not separated by much as far as mileage. And so these kids know each other.
Yeah.
This one gets very personal.
Yeah.
Now, nobody would say it publicly, but they would probably, in a lot of cases, just as soon win that game. If you had a choice of state title or beat the other, which one would you take? I'm afraid to know the answer because a couple of them, if they're honest, might give you the answer that would surprise you.
Yeah, that's how it is for a lot of rivalries. I mean, NBA Father Ryan, I know, is one of them, and there's so many good rivalries across the state where, if you took either state title or, let me just win this game, or 1-10, and the only game you won was that one, I think they would take that as well.
So I know we're going to go to the first break. We've had a little bit of a bombshell that hit before we went on the air, and it really was not something we knew was coming. Why don't we do this? Let's go to the break and see if we can get George Robinson on a few minutes early, if he can do it. And if we can get him on, we'll hit him with all that stuff at the beginning and then actually get into the games that matter. This is the final regular season game for everybody. Next week, it is playoff time in Tennessee, and we're back with more of Football Friday. Stay with us.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. You know, it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Well, the grin on my face, I got to laugh. Welcome back to Football Friday. By the way, another piece of late-breaking news. Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill has been ruled out for Sunday's game against Atlanta. Terry McCormick will join us at 3:05 with the details on that. So George Robinson had no idea that we were going to try to move things around. He probably also didn't know.
Now he's gone.
I saw that. He also probably did not know the piece of news that was about to break, 45 minutes before we went on the air involving Lipscomb Academy. I think he's back with us. Fair to try to bring him up? Let's do it. George Robinson, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Man, you have learned, just like my old radio days, you got to think on the fly sometimes.
That's true.
So tell me what you know about Tom Krager's story that he broke about an hour ago.
Yeah, not much more than what you guys know, actually. I mean, obviously, the biggest news is that Lipscomb Academy has been placed on or has been given a 2-year postseason ban from, I guess, what the TSSAA is deeming recruiting violations. I do know that Lipscomb Academy is appealing that. Certainly, I think they were on probation. And so they were on probation for something almost about a year ago that happened. And so in this these new kind of sanctions came down. I guess the TSSAA had warned, Lipscomb Academy that if they had any other violations during their probationary period that stemmed from something unrelated to this current situation, that certainly their penalties could be even harsher. So that's sort of what they're kind of looking at right now, or at least Lipscomb Academy's football program's kind of looking at right now, is that they're on a 2-year postseason ban. Again, they're going to appeal it. I guess they feel like that appeal is warranted, or at least the Lipscomb Academy administration feels like that appeal is warranted. And we'll see where we go from here. But that's certainly a gut punch for that program, for those kids, for that team. Coach Kevin Creasy in his first year with that team. Of course, the previous years they were under Trent Dilfer, who's now the head football coach at UAB. For that to kind of come down about a week before the playoffs, I'm sure that's difficult for those players. They got a lot of really, really good high school football players on that team, several of which are being heavily recruited by some big-time programs. Two of those guys, and Caleb Beasley, the defensive back, and Edwin Spillman, the linebacker, are Tennessee bound. They're going to play in Knoxville next year. So, to sort of have their high school season potentially end tonight,
Very sad.
that's tough.
George, let me get to the the appeal process, and Billy, chime in here because I guess it involves your school. Ryan was gonna play Lipscomb next week, correct?
Yes, and I actually called George about this earlier, and kind of
sure you did.
asking him about this. Because who knows whether it's a forfeit type situation. It probably wouldn't be called a forfeit. They might just switch that bye over to Father Ryan. I also heard Father Ryan playing at Knoxville Catholic is an option now. So I don't know what their idea is and how to solve this. I don't know that the TSSAA wanted to do this at this point. They probably felt like they had to, and so now they got to figure out these playoff situations. But I think there's a couple of different things on the table here, and nothing's official yet about who Father Ryan will play or when they will play.
Yeah, I'm sort of up in the air about that as well. Like you said, I don't see this being a forfeit because technically, if Lipscomb Academy is given a 2-year ban, they're essentially not eligible for the playoffs, and so it's not a situation where they were going to be in the playoffs, but then just couldn't play the game for whatever reason, and had to forfeit. Yeah, that's usually why you would forfeit a game. So technically, if they're banned from the playoffs, they're not eligible for the playoffs. Therefore, that position, which I think Father Ryan is in, Lipscomb Academy is in the 4th spot in the East region in Division II AAA. That 4th spot usually plays the number 5 seeded school in the West region in that same classification. So that would be Father Ryan in the West. So those two teams were supposed to match up next week in the playoffs. Certainly, Lipscomb Academy's current situation makes that impossible. So I don't know how. I'm not sure exactly how the TSSAA will address that with Father Ryan in terms of if they just sort of get a first round bye, or if it's or if they try to match them up with another Division II AAA team.
George, what can you tell us when we use that all-encompassing recruiting violations?
Yeah.
Can you get any more specific as to what you think that means in this case?
Well, I mean, certainly recruiting violations are, that's going to stem from, whatever the program was doing that the TSSAA felt was against the rules. I don't want to speculate on exactly what happened because I don't know. I know Tom Krager, our sports editor at the Tennessean, is sort of pursuing that. So I'm sure he'll find out information. He may find some information out, later tonight, as Lipscomb plays their final regular season game, which apparently is going to be their final game of the season. So I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, or if it is dealing with a specific player or groups of players. It could be, recruiting violations can mean a lot of things, from impermissible contact with a player, with a player from another team, any one of those things. And I'm not sure what that situation, what this specific situation's about. So I would probably hold off on making any conjectures at this point until we know for sure exactly what violation it's alleged that Lipscomb Academy maybe broke, or what rule they may have broken.
George, back when I was at 102.5, we used to do a Tuesday segment, about a 15-20 minute segment with Trent Dilfer. He would be coming off the Monday night pro football game, and they would do this great round table after the game down on the field. But I've got to be honest, when he came here, he very quickly became the most unpopular coach going. He has acknowledged it. He knew that there were coaches out there who really despised him. Were you surprised at the level of all that was going on?
I don't know that I'm surprised with anything that goes on with high school athletics these days. I do know that when you're successful, and people will always kind of try to justify the reasons for that success. But when you are successful, and let's face it, he was successful at Lipscomb Academy. He took him to three straight state championship games in Division II AA, and they won 2 straight his last 2 years there. Anytime you're playing for state championships, there's going to be a spotlight on you, and there's going to be people that will look for things that may or may not be there. And so I'm trying to be diplomatic in how I answer it. I think Trent Dilfer certainly sort of is a little bit of a lightning rod, because he's so forthcoming and unapologetic about his style of coaching and how he coaches. I mean, we've seen it there at UAB. He's yelling at his assistants and yelling at his players, and he's just a fiery guy. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. Some people love it. I know that there were people at Lipscomb Academy and around that program that absolutely loved him. And yeah, there was he had some detractors as well. So it just kind of comes with the territory. And then when you're successful as well, you're certainly under that microscope, and Trent Dilfer's no stranger to any of that. He was under that microscope when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. He was under that microscope when he was in the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. So it's not surprising that any coach with that level of success would have the people that love him and then the people that hate him.
The worst part of it is this program does not have the ability to play in the playoffs this year. You hate it for those players.
The players are the ones that suffer, really. Yeah. They're the ones that when you look at a Beasley, when you look at a Spillman, you look at Chauncey Gooden and so many great players that they have on that team, to not get a chance to see them in the playoffs, and obviously Lipscomb Academy is playing in a different division, Division II, AAA this year. You would like to see if they could go for a three-peat. That was probably going to be a long shot anyway. They were kind of struggling this year, kind of up and down year, but it kind of felt like they were kind of getting back on track over the past month or so. So maybe they had some momentum going into this playoffs, but it seems like that's not going to be the case. We're not going to be able to get a chance to see that.
Yeah, our last chance to see him will be tonight against McCallie. Speaking of tonight, there's a lot of other good games out there, George, and I added one to your list that you sent me. And feel free to tell me to screw off here, and you may not know much about it.
George, I'll pay you to do that. If you will do that, I'll send you $1.
Checking the mail, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, this is a big game. Christian Brothers and Ensworth. This is the fight for the 2 seed in that West. Christian Brothers 6-3, 2-1 in the region. Ensworth, great season. They're 7-2, 2-1 in the region. Great defense, George. One of the best defenses in the state. And the winner of this game will get a first round bye. This one is at Ensworth. I mentioned that Ensworth defense. It's led by Ethan Utley, a talented, freakish athlete, and Jared Sensabaugh, a Vanderbilt commit. They've got all kinds of talent on that defense. So what do you think about in this one? I mean, obviously so many implications. Who do you think comes away with this one tonight?
Well, I'm going to give the edge to Ensworth, number one, because Christian Brothers has to travel. That's not easy a trip. Now, I know, Division II schools are used to traveling all over the place. They, we were just talking about the Division II AAA East region, Knoxville Catholics in that region. So they do a lot of traveling. They may have to travel to Chattanooga or Nashville. Nashville schools have to travel to Knoxville or Chattanooga as well. So D2 schools are not, that's no stranger to the traveling aspect of it, but it's still, when you play in a high school football game, particularly one that it can be sort of emotional and to the point where you're kind of fighting for your playoff life, or you're fighting for a spot to have maybe a week off to prepare for your first region or your first playoff game, then that makes these games even more important. But Ensworth's at home. They get to sleep in their own beds. They get to eat home cooked meal. Not to say maybe Christian Brothers cater something, or maybe a family member can cook something up for them before this game. But Ensworth's going to have the advantage. And like you talked about, their defense with Ethan Utley, who, along with Edwin Spillman at Lipscomb Academy, are two of probably the best defensive players that I've, laid my eyes on this year. Ethan Utley is just absolutely amazing, and has been the leader of that Ensworth defense now for a couple of years. So I think Ensworth and Ensworth's been playing really well lately too. I think I don't think they've lost a game in a few weeks, almost a month or so. So I would give the edge to Ensworth.
All right, let's move on to the Battle of the Woods. Ravenwood at Brentwood. Ravenwood's 7-2 right now, 4-0 in the region. Brentwood 9-0, 4-0 in the region as well. So a couple of undefeated teams in the region. This is the MyTV 30 game of the week. Brentwood is coming off a 28-0 shutout over Independence. And we talked about that one last week. They just rolled over Independence. Ravenwood is coming off a big loss to Oakland last week. So Oakland put it on Ravenwood last week, so they're going to be ready for this one. Similar to the Battle of the Borough, which is also tonight. Anytime these two get together, there's no love lost. So what are you most excited to see in this one tonight?
You're talking two really good football teams. I thought Ravenwood last week against Oakland, the 3-time defending 6A champs, I thought they played well, particularly in that first half. I think Oakland sort of showed people the reason why they've won three straight state titles. But I thought Ravenwood, they came out aggressive. They got a pick. I think they got an interception and returned it inside the 10-yard line. They were able to get an onside punt to kind of really shock Oakland and take a 12-zip lead going into the second quarter of that game, which I'm sure when people saw that score last week were shocked by that. So I think this Ravenwood team, as well as Brentwood has played, I think this Ravenwood team is a team that you're going to have to look out for. Certainly the region championships on the line. Both of these teams are in the playoffs, so that's not really an issue. And I believe the loser, the worst they could do is finish second. So you're still talking about both these teams, hosting a playoff game next week. But certainly that region title means a lot, and this game means a lot. It's the Battle of the Woods. I'll be there. That's the game I'll be at. And I've seen Brentwood a few times. I've seen Ravenwood a few times. I would probably give the edge to Brentwood just because defensively, I kind of like where Brentwood is defensively, and that's sort of how they've been able to win a lot of these really good games that they've played so far. Is defensively just kind of just kind of holding their own on that side of the football. So I think it's going to be a really great game. I don't think it's going to be particularly high scoring, but I do think Brentwood wins this. If I had to guess, I would say 28-24. I think it'll be a close one, but I think Brentwood wins it.
All right, up next, Marshall County at Pearl Cone. The winner of this one gets Region 5 4A title. Another battle of two really good teams. Marshall County 8-1, 6-0 in the region. Pearl 9-0, 6-0 in the region as well. Marshall County is coming off a 60 burger. They put up 60 last week against Whites Creek. Pearl is coming off a 56 burger. They won 56-6 over White House last week. And Pearl, we were texting back and forth about this, and a lot of people have told me about this Pearl team. A lot of talent. Keyshawn Tarleton at quarterback, Zayon Simpson-Smith. I mean, that kid plays everywhere. Running back, D-end, linebacker. I mean, he's a freak for them. Marshall County, their quarterback, Silas Teat. His numbers, George, over 1,400 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and a big donut for interceptions. No interceptions this year. I can't wait to see who wins this. I don't know if there's a way to watch it. The only way to watch it might be to be there, but I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this one is going to be a good one. I still would heavily favor Pearl Cone. I don't think Marshall County has seen the level of the breadth of talent that Pearl Cone brings and the speed that Pearl Cone brings. Every time I talk about Pearl Cone, I always talk about their speed first and foremost. They are, in my opinion, probably the fastest team in Middle Tennessee. And they can hurt you so many different ways, and they can do so many different things. We talked about Keyshawn Tarleton at quarterback, Javen Kennard, one of their best defensive players, Grayson Beach. He had shoulder surgery, and so he'll be out for the remainder of the season. I think that's a blow to Pearl. But like you talked about with Zion Smith, his ability to kind of step into that role and be the kind of defender he has been all season long has kind of picked Pearl up on that defensive side of the football. I think Pearl, wins this. I don't look for any kind of 60 burgers or 56 burgers. But I do think, Pearl wins this, kind of going away to wrap up that region championship, and they'll be the team to beat in Class 4A in the playoffs. I think a lot of people probably have Pearl penciled in as a state championship team in 4A.
All right, we talked a lot about the Battle of the Borough already, so we will reserve that. Of course, Riverdale at Oakland tonight. Last one here, George. Got to wrap it up. Davidson Academy and CPA. Division II AA Middle Region title. Davidson Academy 8-1, 4-1 of the region. CPA 8-1, 5-1 of the region. Davidson Academy is coming off a 54-10 win at Good Pasture. CPA is coming off a big win over FRA. Great coaching matchup. Jonathan Quinn against Ingle Martin at CPA. Who do you have in this one?
I like CPA. I do think that their game against FRA, they kind of show defensively just how dominant they can be, because that FRA team was rolling. They were putting up a lot of big numbers, like some of these other schools. We were just talking about Pearl and Marshall County, putting up big numbers. FRA was putting up big numbers all season long, and CPA just really kind of shut them down. Davidson Academy is one of those teams where they're a lot like FRA, where they can put up a lot of big numbers as well. I believe their quarterback Knox Roberts has played really well this season. Their offense is capable of scoring at will, but man, CPA's defense has just been absolutely outstanding all season long. They have failed to disappoint me at any point. I think their only loss was to Pearl early in the season, and they held that Pearl team to, less than 20 points. So, this CPA defense is special. And, they got Cruz Law at linebacker, Andre Evans, who just decommitted from LSU and committed to Georgia, the defensive back there. Jackson Matthews at DB. There's just so many different ways, so many different areas or players you can go to where you just your jaw drops at just the talent that they have and how they've been able to play this year. So I like CPA in this game. I think Davidson Academy probably will give them a game for a half, and then CPA will start to put the clamps on them in that second half.
George, you're a good man. Thank you for all the info you've provided, as always, in this time in late-breaking fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
George Robinson covers high school football in the mid-state area for the Tennessean. He has been a part of our show each and every week. So have the folks at Star Physical Therapy. They have offered, if you want to call them health tips, whatever it may be, given the fact that a lot of you watching this have kids playing high school football. Taylor Shelton is the athletic trainer at Giles County High School, and he joins us as you see him in the right-hand corner of the screen. Taylor, did you draw the short straw to have to be on with us?
Absolutely not. No, not I've actually followed y'all all season ever since Star sent out that this was a thing, and I was really excited. My mom is actually the president at Nashville Christian, and so when you went there a couple of weeks ago, I was watching, and I told my mom, I was like, I hope that Star gives me the opportunity so I could be on the same show as you. So it's always been a big fan. I grew up in Nashville, and I've listened to you since I was born. So it's an honor, really.
Oh, God, he makes me feel like I'm 100. Thank you for the nice words. And then he says, and since I was 3, I've been listening to you. So, right. Taylor, I know that athletic trainers don't very often become millionaires. They are a special breed of people who want to help, a lot like policemen, firefighters, without maybe the risk. But kind of tell people, how do you get into this business?
One of the things I probably always said is, to be an athletic trainer, you really got to love sports, and you got to love all sports. And I'll be the first person to say I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, but I love sports. So I'm fine with being on the sidelines. I love helping athletes. So it's a love for sports. And my grandfather was sorry, I'm in our classroom, in my classroom.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
And my grandfather and uncle were football coaches. I was the water boy my entire life as soon as I could walk. So you got to really love sports to do this job. And it's a thankless job. You never, I show in my class, the movie Concussion. And one of the things that they say is, that one of the trainers was the guy that diagnosed him with concussions. And they overlooked it, a guy who tapes knees or and gives out water. But when you have an athletic trainer and there's a scenario where you really need one, you're extremely thankful that you have one at that point.
Wow. So is it simply knowing as you head off to college, this is what I want to do, and there's a certain level of training?
Maybe for some people, to be honest with you, I walked out of high school and thought I was going to be a lawyer, and now I'm an athletic trainer and a teacher. So,
Go
but
figure.
I always knew I loved sports, and I always wanted to be on a sideline because that's really all I knew in my life. And so I went to MTSU and spent my 4 years there, went through their program, and I fell in love with it day one. It's really nice to be able to still be a part of a team when you're no longer an athlete.
So let me ask this last thing. I knew I wanted to be a broadcaster, heck, when I was 12 years old. And even in high school, I did an internship at Channel 4. Are there such a thing for kids who know at that early an age, this is what I want to do? Can they do athletic trainer internships?
There might be some places that will, let them dabble. I guess, or shadow, I guess that would be a better word. We have, I know Star has taken interns in at like the PT clinics.
Yep.
But also I will say this with the CTE in our public schools right now, that's what I teach. And I teach anatomy, and I teach a class called Rehabilitation Careers, which is literally athletic training and physical therapy. Essentially, I teach what I do on a daily basis. So there's a way for kids to really get exposed to that, and then also partnering with other clinics, or if they have the interest in it, and seeking that out.
Beautiful. Listen, you made my day earlier, even if I felt like I was 100 after it was over. Thank you for the visit. All of you who have reported for us this year have been great, you included. Thanks, and let's do it again here soon. I'll see to it that we do.
For sure. Thank you.
Taylor Shelton joining us. He becomes my new best friend, Billy.
Since 2 or 3 years old, he's been listening.
Apparently so. We'll go to the break, and then very quickly we'll get to players to watch tonight. Our player of the week, courtesy of just a great group that has helped us, the Southern Trophy House. All of that and more, and then Terry McCormick and his daily Titans update around 3:05. Stick around.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hardworking team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. It has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Hard to believe this is the final Friday night of the regular season in high school football. So with that in mind, Billy Derrick will rumble through players you need to watch tonight.
Here we go, George. We're starting, unfortunately, of course, with Caleb Beasley. This will be his last game in a Lipscomb Academy uniform.
Unless the appeal works.
Unless the appeal works, but appeals don't typically work. But unless this one
True.
does, who knows?
True.
But, yeah, George, he's a talent. Committed to Tennessee. He'll be in Knoxville next year. Of course, if he stays committed, cornerback, plays on offense for him a little bit, had offers from everybody, but decided to stay at home and go to Tennessee. Tough challenge tonight. They play McCallie at home. McCallie is undefeated at 8-0. They've got their quarterback, of course, going to Vandy, Jeremy St. Hilaire. They got a lot of good receivers over there. This could be a good matchup, though. Carson Lawrence, really good receiver at McCallie, going up against Caleb Beasley, so it'll be fun to watch that tonight. Up next, Whit Muschamp. I'm sure you recognize that last name, Will Muschamp's son, who is an assistant at Georgia, former Florida head coach. He is actually committed to Vanderbilt as well. So Vanderbilt has a couple of the better quarterbacks in the state committed, and he's got a big one tonight against Knoxville Catholic. So they will go at it. He had other offers from Ole Miss, Missouri, and Louisville, so he is a talent to watch. Up next, and I talked about this guy with George Robinson, Keyshawn Tarleton for Pearl Cone. And George, as you see there, he's not the biggest kid, but he can run. He's got a great arm, and he's been phenomenal this year. 70 of 111 passing, 24 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He's also got 4 rushing touchdowns. So Keyshawn Tarleton and Pearl Cone have been rolling, and they have been a fun team to watch. They'll be up against Marshall County tonight. Another guy, and this guy, you look at him, George, big kid. He's their running back.
We're not messing with him.
No, and he actually transferred from Father Ryan. He was at Father Ryan his first couple of years there, ended up leaving and going to Pearl, and he's done phenomenal there, running back. I think he gets after the passer. His stats are ridiculous. 68 tackles, 23 tackles for loss.
Wow.
I mean, that's a crazy number. And they've played 8 games, so you divide that up, that's a few tackles for loss per game.
That is
6 sacks, 5 rushing touchdowns. So he's one of those just do it all guys for Pearl, and they're one of the better teams, kind of underrated in the state. They have just been rolling. So Caleb Beasley, Whit Muschamp, Keyshawn Tarleton, and Zayon Simpson-Smith.
Okay, the folks at Southern Trophy House sponsor our Player of the Week. And each week we do this. Who was last week's Player of the Week?
Last week, Rawls Patterson, the younger brother of Kane Patterson and Langston Patterson, who are both at Vandy. And I think they've got another brother there. I'm not sure of his name, but he's been phenomenal at that running back position for CPA all season long. He had 24 carries last week for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. So congratulations to Rawls Patterson. They will try to keep rolling tonight against Davidson Academy, another tough challenge. So Rawls Patterson is our Player of the Week, brought to you by the great folks at Southern Trophy House.
Absolutely. Wilson Brim and that entire gang over there, good people.
Certainly.
Okay, when we come back, what we have suspected all along is true. Ryan Tannehill ruled out for Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons. Terry McCormick will join us with the very latest on that story as his Daily Titans update comes up right after this.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
We begin the 3 o'clock hour getting into the other things that we're going to get into, which are very pro football and college football related. We're in a little four-corner stall waiting on Terry McCormick. Billy, if you've got anything in the update that bears some discussion, don't do it because Terry is there. Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. Not only does she want to be your mortgage lady, but this weekend she will be at the flea market right near Expo 1 and would love to talk to each and every one of you about your mortgage questions, about all that kind of stuff. So there we go. Terry, we now know what we have suspected all along. Ryan Tannehill is not going to play. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are surprised by that. Tannehill's ankle just didn't come around and respond well enough. High ankle sprain, so it's a situation where he's going to be on the shelf Sunday, and I would assume Thursday when they go to Pittsburgh too, unless he heals remarkably in the 48 hours of the aftermath of Sunday's game. So it's going to be either Will Levis, who I think that's who it's going to be to start, or it's going to be Malik Willis. But Vrabel continues to say that both quarterbacks are going to see some snaps on Sunday against the Falcons.
So, Terry, I thought about this earlier, and I wonder about this. Arthur Smith certainly knows the Titans. Do you think they've had to do changing of signals and changing of terminology with two new quarterbacks likely playing? That could really cause some confusion.
Yeah, it could. I think they probably have some things disguised so that they don't give away what they're doing. But you know that Arthur knows what the Titans want to do, just like the Titans know what Arthur wants to do on the offensive side of the ball. So it's going to be an interesting chess match on Sunday, especially when you throw in the wrinkle of Levis and Willis being out there for the Titans. And I think part of that is just to give Arthur and the Falcons something else to have to prepare for. Because if you have Ryan Tannehill or if you have Will Levis out there, the offense is going to operate probably by and large in the same function and the same patterns as it would with Ryan Tannehill under center at quarterback, because they're both similar type players. They're both going to stay in the pocket, run when they have to. But with Malik Willis, he kind of brings a wild card to that. So it gives the Falcons something else to have to look at and something else to have to take into consideration when they change quarterbacks and put in Malik Willis as kind of the changeup.
Terry, I know this is nothing more than speculation, but it's easy speculation to make up. Do you think Arthur Smith wants Ryan Tannehill next year?
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I think it's one of those situations where Ryan Tannehill strikes me as the type of guy that would want to go somewhere and be a starter if he continues to play after this season. Be 36 years old. He and Arthur Smith obviously know each other very well. He had the best years of his career under Arthur's tutelage. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't see, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, George, but I don't see Ryan Tannehill as the type of guy to go down the Andy Dalton or Joe Flacco path of sticking around and being a backup quarterback and playing 4 games a year behind some kid who's learning the ropes.
I agree with you, and I'll take it one step further. You say, well, he came to the Titans, and it was made clear early he was the backup. My guess is Ryan Tannehill took one look at Marcus Mariota and said, not for long. He's just not accurate enough, and at some point, I'm going to get the chance, and when I do, I'm better than Mariota. Now, he never said it. Everything I know is he was a really good teammate during that time, but you've got to believe that he knew in his heart, I'm better than him.
Sure. I mean, if you're a quarterback who's being phased out in one place and you know that you can still play at a high level, you want to go somewhere where there is an opportunity maybe to seize the job. I mean, you see it all the time, how a lot of these guys like Teddy Bridgewater, they get into these situations. Ryan Fitzpatrick was maybe the best at it in terms of being able to go somewhere where there was a situation where he's not the starter, but at some point he became the starter because the starter either got injured or the starter was ineffective.
And then he piled up some hideous clothes.
Yes, he did.
Oh, my
Which
goodness.
he's now wearing on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, he is a trip. Okay, anything else you want to leave us with?
Well, Roger McCrary, who I talked about yesterday
Yeah.
with the hamstring injury, he's listed as questionable for the game. So Vrabel actually offered up what his plan is if Roger McCrary is not able to go. It looks like Elijah Molden's going to stay at safety and that Murphy, Bunning, and Fulton would stay outside, and they're going to try and have practice squad rookie Eric Garrer be ready to go in case Roger McCrary is not a go on Sunday. And the interesting aspect of that is with Kyle Phillips kind of shaky in the punt return department, Eric Garrer is a guy who has punt return skills and showed it in the preseason. He could be in that mix as well.
Bring it on, Terry. You have a good weekend. We'll see you Sunday, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right. Sounds good, George. See you.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She will be at Expo 1 or right around it this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the flea market. She would love to talk to a bunch of you. So before I go to the tail of the tape of the Titans and the Atlanta Falcons, there's a lot of talk about, how this is all going to play out. Let me just say up front, this is one person's opinion, and I have nothing to base it on other than gut hunch. I think Will Levis is going to do just fine. I think it's time to toss him out there and let him sink or swim, whether the offensive line is great or not great. He's dealt with bad offensive lines before. He had one at Kentucky for a while. But I have all the confidence in the world in Will Levis. Now, I do not have that level of confidence in Malik Willis, who is a wonderful human being. The system that he learned at Liberty apparently doesn't translate very well into the pro football level. And the freewheeling Malik Willis that I saw at Liberty looks like it's been completely harnessed to be a Titan.
Yeah, I mean, for Will Levis, this is it for him. I mean,
this is the start of
it. This is the tryout, and I don't really look at him and say, oh, he's going to go out there and blow the world on fire. But I mean, why not expect better things than Malik Willis out of Levis? I mean, I think that's reasonable.
I think he's going to do very well. And let's go ahead and go to the tail of the tape of what one person thinks will happen on Sunday. Here's the one thing I'm going to get right. The Titans are the home team. And by the way, I love that Oiler thing. That looks so good. I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know. Are they using the logo on the helmet?
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's going to look awesome.
That thing looks good. So you're probably saying, wow, you didn't give much of an edge to the Titans in the running game. When he's healthy, the kid Bijan Robinson is a beast.
Do we know if he's playing?
Don't know. It was really strange. The NFL kind of came down on the Falcons because the Falcons just sort of threw out, at halftime of the game last week in Tampa, he's not feeling well. And the NFL has it.
That's not going to cut it.
Apparently it doesn't. And so they got called on the carpet. Passing game, I'm giving it lightly to Atlanta. Look, they've got a lot of the same question marks about Desmond Ridder that we're probably going to have about Malik Willis and Will Levis. Desmond Ridder is a kid from Cincinnati. He has had moments where you say, aha, and then he's had moments when you say, no, thank you. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I agree. It reminds me a little bit of Marcus Mariota, both in Nashville and Atlanta. I mean, he has some throws where you're like, whoa, he's got some talent, but then he also will go out and lose a game for you. I mean, just brutal mistake after mistake. And he's kind of hanging on by a thread there, I think. And they've got Logan Woodside as his backup, so they don't want
that ain't the answer.
They don't want to have to go to Woodside. So we could be seeing an interesting quarterback matchup, Will Levis versus Desmond Ridder.
Wow, who would have thunk it? I give the check mark defensively to the Titans, although the Falcons are not horrible on defense. These are two pretty evenly matched teams which is why at the moment the line is Atlanta by 2.5. I give the Titans the edge in the kicking game, although the kid, what's his name? Wu, the field goal kicker?
Younghoe Koo.
Thank you, Koo.
He's one of the best in the league.
You know what? You ready for this little pun? He's been a coup for them.
He really
He's
has.
really done well.
Yeah.
Had the game winner in Tampa a few days ago.
Yep.
Okay, intangibles. Terry told me a couple of days ago that the locker room was not thrilled about the Byard move. Now, deep down, I don't disagree with the idea of starting to look ahead. I have not thought for some time that this is a playoff team. I've said it to you all. I think it's a lot more likely that it's a 7-10 than it is a 10-7. Now, again, that's just one person's opinion. I kind of like the idea that they start down the road of some things. However, if you really think about it, the two people that would cause the biggest stir for that locker room were Byard, who was incredible in this community.
Yeah.
Byard was a favorite of Amy Strunk's. He was a favorite in that locker room. And whether you think he was overpaid or not, that has not gone over well in their locker room.
No.
I believe that a move, and I know it's being rumored a lot, a move of Derrick Henry, I believe loses this locker room entirely.
Kamikaze.
And unless they get big stuff for Derrick Henry, I don't make the move. So the locker room and what level of zip they bring to this game will be very important. And then the other one I put out there for the Falcons is Arthur Smith. He's coming home. He knows every bit as much about the Titans as any visiting head coach in the NFL. And excuse me, I have a cold. You all could tell that for a good while now. So, are you showing the final score?
I am.
Well, let's see it. Yes, I believe the Titans come away with a 20-17 win. And in my little epiphany, Will Levis does just fine. I think he plays really well.
Think so?
I do.
I'm interested.
I'm a Will Levis fan.
I'm interested. I think he's better than Willis, but by how much? Like,
I don't know.
Can he go out there with what Willis had, right? And minus Josh Wiley, who's going to be out. You have Derrick Henry. You've got the same receivers. It'll be interesting to see if there's any clear difference between the two.
I believe he's a better pure passer than Malik.
Yeah.
I hear whispers of inaccuracy. We're going to find that out probably on Sunday, in particular if he starts the game. But I think the Titans are going to win to go to 3-4, and then it is a murderer's row of 3 road games in a row. At Pittsburgh next Thursday night, 10 days later at Tampa, and then a week later at Jacksonville. NFL did the Titans absolutely no favors with that schedule.
Buckle up, Titans fans. It's going to be a long ride.
Buckle up, Buttercup. When we come back, it's not the biggest weekend in college football.
But whenever we say that, it ends up being nuclear.
So we'll talk about it when we come back.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now let's get to the college football week number, whatever it is.
9.
Who cares? It's a week of college football, and that's a good thing. So I put 4 games together that I thought were the 4 biggest ones up there. And the first one is a miracle. I mean, you think about it. 2 years ago, would anybody have said Oklahoma at Kansas would be one of your first 4 best games out there? Because back then, Oklahoma would have been about a 34-point favorite.
Yeah.
Lance Leopold. Remember, you heard this, Billy. This is one piece of news you can take to the bank. Lance Leopold interviewed for the Vanderbilt job.
Yep.
2.5 years ago.
A lot of fans wanted him.
Those who know tell me he was very impressive in his interview. He ended up going to Kansas. He was at Buffalo at the time. And I believe he will be the hottest commodity out there when the coaching searches start. Now, think about this for a second. A couple of years ago, who was the hottest name in college coaching? The rising, we all want him. Who was it?
A couple years ago?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there were a few. I don't know.
Well, this one rose above all of them. Matt Campbell. Iowa State. He elected to stay at Iowa State.
And it has really bit him in the butt.
Oh, if we could give him a little truth serum. Could he honestly tell you that turned out to be the best career move?
That's a good point.
It is a good point.
That's a really good point. But I don't know. Kansas, it feels like they've made more of a strong financial commitment, and they have really dove into the NIL era. Now, this is a good example right now. Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, is out. Right. And all eyes are on Jason Bean. They're still awaiting the return of Daniels. He's missed several weeks.
What's the kid's name?
Jason Bean.
Is he related to LL Bean?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But no, George, I think it's a good point, and it'll be fun to see if what decision does Leipold make here? Because I think he's going to have to make one, because he's going to have a lot of money thrown at him, whether it's Texas A&M, whether it's if there's a move at another SEC schools, Carolina, Arkansas. There's going to be some SEC schools throwing a lot of money at him, and he's going to have to make a decision. But with this game, George, this Oklahoma team is kind of shaky right now. Last week against UCF, they
almost lost.
I mean, they barely eked that one out, but they're still in complete control of the Big 12 thanks to their win over Texas. Dylan Gabriel, though, he's right in the thick of the Heisman race. He leads the Big 12 in passing yards and touchdowns. They're the only unbeaten team left in the Big 12, and they should be favorites in every remaining game.
Would you say he's number 2 behind Penix for Heisman Trophy?
Right
now? I mean,
yeah, he's up there. I don't know.
Penix is at the top of everybody's board now.
J.J. McCarthy, too, I think, is up there. But Gabriel would definitely be up there in the top 3 for me. But if they're able to finish undefeated, it would be hard to keep them out of the playoff field. I mean, obviously, right? Finish the season undefeated, even if they do go lose in the Big 12 title.
Yeah, you wonder what the path is, but sure, it's hard to imagine undefeated Oklahoma doesn't get in.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough test for them tomorrow, though.
Now,
you talked about Leipold, phenomenal coach. I mean, he has completely transformed that program. They used to struggle to beat FCS teams, like Vanderbilt.
They were where Vandy is.
Yeah, and they're 11-9 over the past 2 seasons. That's their best record over 2 years since 2006.
I've done, and in fact, I believe I'm right in that 2006 deal. Wasn't Bill Whittemore the quarterback?
You could be right.
Mangold, what was the guy's
Mangini.
name? No, that was Eric Mangini. That was the pro guy.
Oh.
Look up who the coach was at Kansas. Big, fat guy who we've not heard of for a long time. Okay, game 2
Mark
is
Mangino.
Mark Mangino. Thank you. Okay, 2:30, Oregon at Utah. Now, on paper, Oregon has more talent than Utah. But Utah, and I have been babbling this for all week long, to me, they are the most mentally tough football team in all of college football. You talk about a team that plays to their coach's personality, Kyle Whittingham. Man, they are blue-collar. In particular, given that Cam Rising has not played all year, and instead it's been the kid Bryson Barnes. I don't know that they're going to win this game, but I'll be shocked if Oregon rips them.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a blowout if Oregon does win. But, I mean, this is our answer in the Pac-12. I mean, this is an elimination games. Both teams come into this with confidence. George, Oregon beat Washington State last week. Utah beat Lincoln Riley and USC for the 3rd straight time. They have owned that program. Kyle Whittingham, after the USC win, though, he said Cam Rising's done for the season. So they're going to go, like you said, with Barnes down the stretch here. These two teams, the Pac-12 has run through these two teams since about 2011. I mean, it's been, one of these two teams winning it. Utah has claimed the last 2.
I'll be shocked if this is not a hell of a game.
Oh, it is. That's why game day's there. Utah, George, they have a streak. They've won 29 of their last 30 home games.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That place holds about 48.
Yep. It's not real big, but it gets loud.
Big, but it is really loud.
Yeah. So to bet against Utah is probably not smart in this game, but we know about Oregon. Bo Nix leads the country in completion percentage at 78%. They have yet to score fewer than 33 points in a game this season, but Utah has yet to give up more than 32. So something's going to give here in this one. I mean, this is by far the best game.
The third one is the 6 o'clock game, the one that a lot of us in this area will be interested in. Tennessee will come in pissed off.
Yep.
Whether they should have won at Alabama, when they had a 13-point lead at halftime, they shouldn't have lost by 14. So they've been hearing that. Kentucky, I don't think is as good as they were in late August, early September. And I do subscribe to one thing Tony Basilio has thrown out there. Kentucky has some mental baggage going into this game. Number one, they hate Tennessee. They desperately want to beat them. They want to get them at Commonwealth. And the question is, are they good enough to do it now? And as you'll find out later in about 5 minutes, I don't think so.
Well, George, Tennessee is 0-2 against the spread on the road this season. They lost on the road at Florida. They lost at Alabama. They have not been good on the road. So can they go up to Lexington tomorrow night in what's going to be a heck of an atmosphere? I mean, they're going to be ready to go no matter how, poorly Kentucky has played in their last couple of games. Tennessee's not the same offense they were last year. But, George, if first half Joe Milton shows up from last week against Alabama, Tennessee should be fine. But he hasn't done that. He hasn't been consistent enough. Right? As a team, they haven't. Right? They make some stupid, whether it's penalties, just kind of boneheaded plays where you go, what's going on? And so, I know there's a lot of talk about there weren't enough penalties called on Alabama, but they didn't score. They got shut out in the second half. So
Kentucky needs a really good start to this game. They need the ability to buy in that they can hang with Tennessee.
Get that crowd involved.
But I don't know. My gut feeling is no.
Yeah.
Now,
I think I like Tennessee in this matchup.
The last game, Billy, is
interesting.
The late one.
Yeah.
And because it's, Pac-2 after dark.
This has Arizona written all over it.
Nobody sees Arizona. But the Arizona that started the season at the beginning of September and the Arizona today is like night and day.
Yeah.
You're sitting there going, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
They've become a really good football team.
They're a pesky team. Jed Fish has done a really good job with Arizona. Both these teams are coming off a bye. Oregon State has been really, really tough this year. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei.
Excuse me?
Uiagalelei.
Oh, nice. So it's not ukulele?
No, it's not. But they've got good receivers. They got a good offense. But a number here, Arizona, 6-1 against the spread this season. So they've been pesky, and they've ruined some people who have
who have had to use Sunday as double up to catch up.
Yes. So I love Arizona in this matchup.
Okay, those are the four big ones. Now let's get to plaster bets of the day. Must we?
That's what happened last night. The two-team teaser failed miserably.
Georgia State.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Yeah, I didn't really get to watch. I saw they gave up almost 50 points. Was it 47 to
44? I think
44 to 24 or something like that.
The last 7 on a pick that got taken to the house.
And then the Bills failed to cover.
Yeah, but they won the teaser, which is all we needed.
That's all you need.
Thank you. Okay, here goes. A big weekend where I have 7 plays. Let's talk about them. NC State, it's home. They're the home team. No, they have not been a world beater, but frankly, neither has Clemson. Clemson now knows they've lost 3 times, right?
Yes.
So there are a lot of kids in that locker room who are used to competing for national titles. Now they're competing to get to the Bluebonnet Bowl. Okay? A big difference. I don't think Clemson is going to bring the emotional zip to the table that's needed. NC State at home would love nothing better than to nail another coffin. Put another nail in Clemson's coffin. I'm taking NC State plus the points.
Dabo needs to relax. He's, kind of that Shane Beamer effect. Mark Stoops just saying a little too much.
It's not working.
No.
Okay, game 2. It's all about Michigan State. They've quit.
The fact that who's the home team here?
Minnesota. And don't get me wrong, Minnesota's offense is a joke.
Yeah, but the fact that they are 7-point favorites over Michigan State tells you how much that Spartans program has dropped in the span of about a year and a half.
Well, the fact that Minnesota's 7 over anybody with that offense, but I think they will. I don't I just get the feeling that Michigan State's kids
Checked out.
have checked out with the coaching
They've had 3 or 4
situation.
guys enter the portal.
Yeah, and Mel Tucker gone. When they didn't show anything at home against their arch rival, they got beat 49-0 by Michigan. I think they've mentally checked out. I'm taking Minnesota.
Love it.
Okay, here are 2 teams that kind of have underachieved. Baylor, Iowa State. The game is at Baylor. They're getting points. This will be a close, low-scoring game, but I think Baylor will pull it out. You like that one?
Not
so sure, are you?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Ask me if I care.
I actually like Iowa State here. George, Matt Campbell has his back against the wall.
Against what wall?
What do you mean?
The Berlin Wall? I mean, is he under siege?
No,
I'm not aware of it.
I like Iowa State here.
Okay. Well, I don't care what you think because your opinion is not the one that on Monday we have to use for the report card.
Correct.
Okay.
You put your name on the line here.
Absolutely. You have that well rehearsed, don't you? Let's go to page 2. I just think Tennessee wins, and I think they win by a touchdown or more.
I agree.
Kentucky has to get off to a good start.
Specifically, Devin Leary. He's not done anything this year.
He really hadn't.
And maybe it's on the OC, maybe it's on the receivers. I don't know, but he's got to be better.
They have got to establish early in the game that they belong because Missouri torched them.
And if they can't run Ray Davis, they've got no shot.
Right.
And Tennessee's run defense is really good. That's the matchup.
The last one is all about Arizona State, which has been god-awful. Now, Washington State has stumbled the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they started out hot.
Yeah. But Ward will be the difference in this game. Washington State will win by a touchdown or more. Isn't it amazing how I am able to act like I'm going to go 7-0? And all of you out there are going, no, you're not.
That ain't going to happen.
Let's get to the pros.
EAGLES.
Well, it doesn't look like, okay, 2-team teaser at the top. Philly plays the Deadskins in our nation's capital. We're teasing Philly from 7 down to -1.
Yep.
Okay, KC goes to Denver. Denver can't score. We're taking KC, which I don't know why they're only 7.5, and we're teasing them down to 1.5. Billy, I'm telling you, it's free money.
I like that. I like
money,
that play, though.
You take that 2-team teaser. You're going to make money.
I might consider.
God, if both of them win, I mean, if the other 2 win,
you
burn the tape.
You make it entertaining.
Burn the tape. And then the Titans. Why do I think they're going to win? I can't give you a good reason other than Atlanta isn't anything to write home about either. These are 2 teams that are kind of middle of the road.
Middling.
Atlanta seems to have more shot at winning a division than the Titans do. I think the Will Levis factor, that's the thing that could energize the crowd.
Yeah.
Could energize the football team. If he plays well, they're going to win.
I can see Will Levis walking into that huddle and saying, guys, let's let it loose. Just screw everything else. Let's go win us a game because I'm the quarterback. I'm the leader. We're going to see what he's made of.
Get on my back. I'll carry you.
He did that a lot at Kentucky.
Yeah, he sure did. Okay. Does this mean we're done?
This means we're done.
It means we're done for the week. On Monday, a lot of review of a big weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, studs and duds.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yes. All of you have a great weekend. If you get a chance tonight, go to a high school football game because when it's all said and done, these are the college stars of the future. So long, everybody.